Good morning, everybody. We are going to have our morning meeting, even though we are not going to do it together. I'm going to do it so you can all participate from home, and I will see you at morning meeting live tomorrow. So we are going to start our morning meeting like we do every day with our greeting, our share, our activity, our message, and our calendar. And we are going to get started with our greeting today. So I'm going to greet you, and then you can greet somebody in your home. Our greeting today is going to be our pinky wave, where we say buenos dias with our finger. So get it, go ahead, greet somebody in your house and say buenos dias. Okay, we are done with our greeting. 1, 2, 3, check. And now it is time for our share. Today, we are going to share about how we are feeling. So I want you to think right now, how are you feeling? You might be feeling happy, excited. You might be feeling a negative feeling like disappointed or sad or sleepy or frustrated. Maybe you're feeling nervous or anxious. Here are some of the feelings that we feel. And this poster is a poster we have in our classroom. Now, there's a lot more feelings than what we can see here. Sometimes we know how we're feeling and we can put a name on our feeling really quickly. Sometimes we don't know the name of the feeling we have. And sometimes you might be feeling one feeling, or you might be feeling 3 or 4 feelings, and that's all okay. So think about how you're feeling. And since we're not doing this together this morning, if you want, you can pause the morning meeting and you can tell somebody in your family how you're feeling, or you can just think to yourself about how you're feeling and why. And if you're feeling something like anxiousness or being frustrated or disappointed, remember you have lots of strategies that you know from school to help you feel more calm. You could do mindfulness with your 5-finger breath where you breathe in and breathe out. You could do our mindful breathing shapes. If you don't have a shape, you can just make a shape in the sky. As you trace a square, you can breathe in and breathe out, or you can do it on the table in front of you. You can also practice some mindfulness strategies like mindful listening. You can close your eyes and listen to all of the sounds around you. You can do mindful seeing and get your eyes super strong and just take a second and look around the room slowly, thinking about all of the things you see. You might even see something in your own home that you've never noticed before. And sometimes when you practice those mindfulness skills, they'll help your strong feelings feel a little bit better. So that was our share for today. Now we can say we're done. Ready? 1, 2, 3, check. Now it is time for our activity. Today's activity is going to be a word problem. And we're going to solve it using that thing called a tape diagram that we learned about last week. I'm going to walk through the problem with you. If you want, you can get a piece of paper and a pencil and you can try to solve this problem with me as I solve it on the computer. I'm also going to give you a couple seconds every time so that you can think about the answer before I share the answer with you, okay? So first we have to read our story. The story sounds like this. A dog hides 11 bones behind his dog house. Later, his owner gives him 5 more bones. How many bones does he have now? Remember, when we solve word problems, first we read it, then we draw it, then we write it. So we read it. I'm going to reread it to you, and I want you to close your eyes. And as I read it, I want you to make a picture in your brain about what is happening. And as you make this picture, you might notice if we're doing an addition problem or a subtraction problem. A dog hides 11 bones behind his dog house. Later, his owner gives him 5 more bones. How many bones does he have now? So we read it, we visualized it. Now let's think about what kind of problem this is. Are we putting 2 numbers together and adding? Or are we taking a whole number and breaking it apart and doing some subtraction? A dog hides 11 bones behind his dog house. Later, his owner gives him 5 more bones. So it sounds like we start with 11 and then we have 5. And the question says, how many bones does the dog have now or all together? So it sounds like we're doing an addition problem. Now that we've read the story and we've thought about what kind of problem we're solving, let's draw it. So the first part of our problem says that the dog hides 11 bones under his dog house. I drew 11 circles. And I know in the number 11 that it's made up of 10 and one more. So I left 10 of our circles white and I colored one gray so we can easily see a group of 11. We have 10 and 1, which makes 11. And I went ahead and labeled this part of our tape diagram with the word bones because our story is about how many dog bones the dog has. And I also wrote the number 11 inside this rectangle so that when we look at this problem, we don't have to think, how many circles are there? We just know there's 11. All of the information in this picture came from my problem. A dog hides 11 bones behind his dog house. The picture shows the 11 bones. We labeled it with an 11 and the word bones. This is one part of our problem. So to show that this is one part, I put a rectangle around it. Now, think in your brain, what would we do next? The next part of our story says, later the owner gives him 5 more bones. At the beginning, we said when we are adding on and we have more, that this is going to be an addition problem. And it sounds like we know the other part. The owner gives him 5 more bones. That's the other part. So just like we did with the first part, we can show 5 with 5 circles, and we can put a box around it to show that it's a part. It's also helpful to write the number 5 and to label it. I didn't want to label it with bones because I wanted to show that these are the bones that he's getting in addition. These are the new more bones. So I used the word more to label it. So I see that the dog had 11 bones and then he got 5 more. Now, when we make a tape diagram, we show the total by putting these lines together to show that the rectangles fit together. And I know that the question is asking for the whole number. How many bones does the dog have now? Do we know the answer to that? We don't. So when we don't know the answer to something in a problem, we can use a question mark to show that that's what we're looking for. How do you think we should solve this now? You might have thought we should go and count every circle and say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one way we could solve it. You also might have thought of another first grade strategy that's a little bit more efficient. You might have said, let's count on. You see a number 11, so you could just say in your brain 11, and then you could count on as we add these dots. Or you might already know what 11 plus 5 is by thinking about the 10s and the 1s. Let's try the strategy of counting on. I know that this part has 11, so I'm going to say 11, and then I'm going to count on as I add 5 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I bet the whole number is 16. It is. 11 plus 5 equals 16. Now that our picture shows how we solved this problem, let's think about how we could write an equation or a number sentence to go with this problem. Think in your brain, what would be an addition problem that you could write to go with this? And if you want, you can even challenge yourself to think about a subtraction problem you could write. I bet most of you said 11 plus 5 equals 16. What part of that number sentence were we looking for? Remember, the question said, how many bones does the dog have now? That's what our question mark was answering. And we found that was the number 16. So let's put a box around 16 so we know that that's our answer. That's our whole number. Now we have to write a statement. Remember, a statement is a sentence that answers your question. So we don't want to just say, there's 16. So what does that mean? 16 cupcakes? 16 balloons? What would be a good sentence or a statement? One way you can write a statement is by using the question to help you. So the question says, how many bones does the dog have now? So now you could say, now the dog has 16 bones, or the dog has 16 bones now. Either way you write it, as long as you include the number 16 and the word bones as the label, you're answering your question. So that is how we can use a tape diagram to solve word problems. It's another strategy that first graders use when they're solving word problems, and it's something we're going to continue to practice over the next couple of days at school. Nice work solving that problem. Now we're done with our activity. 1, 2, 3, check. And now it is time for our message. So at home, as the words are in yellow, you can read along with me. Ready? Our message sounds like this. April 28th, 2020. Good morning, friends. Today is Tuesday. Today we are learning at home. Let's practice our R-controlled vowels. Love, Miss Harrington. It's been a couple of days since we practiced our R-controlled vowels. Think in your brain, what are all of the R-controlled vowels? Maybe you can name them right now. Our R-controlled vowels are the vowels when they're next to an R. Sometimes they're called the bossy R. We call them a bossy R because the R is in charge and it changes the sound the vowel makes. So let's practice our R-controlled vowels. Say the sounds at home with me.
A, R, car, R. O, R, horn, or. E, R, her, I, R, bird, U, R, burn,
Now, we learned at school that the E-R, I-R, and U-R all say To write the sound that's how we write it with the upside down E and R between the two lines. These are sounds you see a lot when you're reading books at home or when you're reading books on the computer from the website. These are not sounds we're going to practice a lot of writing about, but you'll see these a lot when you're reading. So if you know the sounds these bossy vowels make, you can use them to help you solve some tricky words. Nice work practicing our R-controlled vowels. We're done with our message. 1, 2, 3, check. And now it's time for our calendar. So yesterday, we added the number 27 to the calendar. Think in your brain, what number will we add today? I bet you can already shout it out. Today, we're adding the number 28. Yesterday, we talked about how April is almost over. The first day of May will be on Friday, so we only have 2 more days of April. So let's say our date together. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020. Now, time to count our days in school. Yesterday, we were in school for 143 days. If we add 1 straw for today, remember, because it's only 1, it'll go into the ones column. How many days of school have we been in now? That's right. We've been in school for 144 days of first grade. Now let's count by tens, and then we'll count on by ones till we get to 144. It's a lot of counting. You ready? Here we go. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 141, 142, 143, 144 days of first grade. If you look, you can see that the box that has a blue square around it will be the last day of first grade. So when I look at the 10 frame for this day in school where the red dot is, I can see that there's 6 empty boxes. I also see there's an empty 10 frame up here, which we know has 10. So if we have these empty boxes, that's 6, and these empty boxes, that's 10 so far. That means 16 more days. Then I can see we have 17 days, 18 days, 19 days, 20 days, 21 days, 22 days left in first grade. That means 22 days of morning meetings still on the computer and still learning from home, but 22 days we still get to spend together. Now we are done with our message and our calendar. 1, 2, 3, check. Now it's time for a few announcements. Today, you have 3 videos to watch on the website. You get to listen to one of my favorite books called Where the Wild Things Are, about a boy named Max who goes on adventures. And then you get to read your own book called Where Land Meets Sea to learn about things that live on the seashore. After you do your read aloud, you have a video with Miss G cooking up words. And today with Miss G, you're going to learn 2 new vowel teams. You're going to learn the UE vowel team and the EW vowel team. So in the word blue, we hear the oo, UE, and in the word rescue, we hear the UE. And in the EW is in the word chew. It says oo. You'll learn more about those vowel teams when you watch Cooking with Words with Miss G. In math today, we're still working on adding and subtracting numbers by breaking them up into tens and ones. Today, you're going to see different strategies to do that. If you look at this picture here, you're going to see one strategy was that they broke up 13 into 10 and 3, and they added the 10. The other strategy was they broke it into 3 and 10, and they added the 3 to 17 to make 20. So those are some strategies you're going to practice as you solve the problems during math today on the website. Make sure you work hard and watch all of these videos on the website. Now, you also can continue to do Lexia. I'm super proud of Eileen because she did Lexia yesterday already. And shout out to Lena because Lena got on iReady. I know some friends have trouble using iReady and some friends have trouble using Lexia. If you can't get those programs to work, then make sure you're watching the website. And don't forget, you can do the video reflection at the end of the page on the website. My last reminder is that today, Tuesday, and tomorrow, Wednesday, are the last chances for you to pick up a packet at school. This is your workbook for Module 5, and we're going to learn about shapes and telling time. And this is going to be the work you're going to do from now to the last day of first grade on May 29th. So make sure you go to school and pick up the workbook. School is open today and tomorrow from 8:30 to 2. Okay? You can also find all of the same packets on the website. So if you have a printer at home, you can go to our first grade website and print those packets to use at home. So those are my announcements for today. I'm sorry I didn't get to be with you today, but I wanted to go say goodbye to Miss Landstrom, and tomorrow I'll share what we did. I know we're going to have a parade with cars and balloons. We're going to drive past Miss Landstrom's house, and we're going to wave to her, and we're going to honk our horns, and it's going to be all of the teachers since we're going to miss her as she moves to Texas. But tomorrow I'll show you pictures and tell you about it. So I will see you back for morning meeting at 10 o'clock on Zoom tomorrow morning on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, okay? I hope you have a great day. I'm sorry we didn't get to do morning meeting together, but I'll see you tomorrow. I miss you guys. Have a good day. Text me pictures of your work as you keep working hard, okay? See you tomorrow.